What's good, YouTube? If you are a channel member, you might have been keeping up with the Jank versus Meta series, and you saw me mention that I've been thinking of changing up the Reptile build a bit. Specifically, I was talking about taking out like the Raikou Kaya stuff. Well, more so taking out the Raikou stuff, because I felt like the deck doesn't have enough good ways of actually benefiting from the milling in terms of graveyard threats. And then, like, you kind of just gas out too fast, and you don't have Pot of Avarice either in this quick draw deck. Well, actually, we took out the quick draw for now. I think I might put this back in later, but for today's video, we were actually testing a version without quick draw. But anyway, I felt like the Raikous just kind of weren't it. It was too passive, too many set monsters. Like, we were having too many games where we're unironically just, like, decking out because we mill all of our win cons. So we're going to try a version without it. Now, for this build, to replace the Raikous that we lost, we have to go up to maximum Naga. And then since we're on maximum Naga, I decided to go maximum Voski. Now, taking out Caius also might have been questionable with maximum Naga. I might put back in some number of Caius. I just kind of, like, took it out to make room for some stuff I wanted to try in this build. But the Reptilian lineup that we now have is 11 Reptiles, so we're at 3-1 on Vaski and Nanta instead of 2-2 now. Since we have less milling as well, the Ananta's kind of eh. I think playing 1 is kind of always good, though, because at that 1 ratio, it's kind of like Return, where you just often draw it in long games later, and then it's, like, really good, obviously. And then 3 Vaski. Vaski's just, like, always live in this build, so we want 3 of it. It's a pretty decent boss monster. Like, I really think Vaski is pretty slept on, pretty underrated. It's actually just, like, really solid. Speaking of really solid, Naga and Gardna, very solid cards. Gardna is just like a 2k wall that's also basically a Sangan for your whole archetype. It can search the boss monster, it can search Naga, it can search an 18-beater. It's more like a Witch of the Black Forest than a Sangan, actually. It's pretty insane. We have Scylla, of course, just as a one-off to have that 18-beater in case you need to get off the Gardna. Now we get into the hero package. So we did take some inspiration from the Joshua Smith quick draw build in here on the Plasma Alias Stratos, and then with a Rhoda and a DD Warrior Lady as the other Rhoda target. So I think, I don't know if I'll keep the Rhoda DD Warrior Lady. It's like getting to Stratos actually just doesn't feel super important. The only one you really don't want to draw is like Alias, I guess. You kind of want that one to stay in deck or as like a Garnet, but yeah, just like hard drawing Plasma or Stratos is kind of fine. And then Future Fusion obviously is the big payoff there. We got that guy in that Absolute Zero, so you can access Dandelion just another way. Of course, kind of have to max out on ways to access Dandelion since we are cutting the Raikou. We don't have those mills, and I refuse to put Lone Fire Blossom Titanium in my deck because I freaking hate those cards. And then we're on maxed out Debris Dragon with the double Dandy. Of course, kind of goes with the whole game plan with the maxed out Voski. Debris Dragon, very good. You just go for your Synchro play, and then you drop a Voski on top of your Synchro play. So you can go like Black Rose Voski, you can go Stardust Voski. Either way, pretty good. Then Tragodia and Card Trooper actually sided, or I took out the Gores. I felt like it's actually dead too much in here, like with all the set offerings, maybe like set judgments, Call of the Haunted, the Future Fusion. There's like too many things that get stuck in your spell trap zones, and like you're always spamming all these tokens too. So I think the Gores is unironically pretty mid, especially without Caius as a way of converting either. So Gores got taken out, and we're just on that Tragodia. Tragodia is obviously insane in any deck that has access to a ton of 4s and 8s. Where it's just like you can steal a lot of normal summons, and then you can steal level 8 Synchros or Ab Zero as well. And then the 8s are searchable too, which is nuts. Everything's searchable, so Trag, awesome card. The other spells we have, I mentioned Rhoda, we got Allure, we got Foolish Burial. Foolish, of course, you got to get to that Dandelion. We don't have Raikous to get us to that Dandelion, so we got to get to the Dandelion somehow. Allure, we play a fair number of Darks. It is like, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's not quite enough to justify Dad, but it's definitely enough to justify Allure. And then Heavy Typhoon, Scapegoat. We need maximum Voski set up in here since we're on 3. And Plasma, too. We're on Plasma and triple Voski, so we just need, like, Foolish and Scapegoat and Future Fusion to get the Dandelion. Just everything needs to be setting up these big plays. Trap cards, we got that one Compulse, pretty much becoming a staple in all my lists. Double Bottomless Trap Hole, same deal. One of all of the good spell traps. Call is, of course, awesome in here because we have so many floaters to bring back. You got 3 Gardnas, you got the Card Trooper, the Dandelion, and then triple Offerings. Offerings is crazy. One of the best cards in the entire deck. Crazy synergy with the Turtle as well. So I think the Reptile build is a reasonably strong one. We're going to be taking this new approach. I think I've tried the hero version before. Definitely some other people have tried it. I think gone far in some maybe format library tournaments with it. I forget. I think it was like Zytalos or something. Or it was one of those Who Needs Meta people that went far. So definitely very cool. And we're going to see how we can do with it today. First replay up against Skill Drain Dragon. Is this like Virus Dragons? I assume it is, because I don't see why else you would play like these big dudes with the Skill Drain. It's probably got the Virus thing. I see the Few after the upstart, so I'm like, okay, it's Dragons. I'm judgmenting that Future Fusion, which was definitely a good call. Now, we are getting owned by Skill Drain, though. We are absolutely getting owned by Skill Drain. Our current hand, look at this, like, Fusilier. How do we deal with Fusilier in this current hand? Like, how do we actually... Trag does nothing. Naga does nothing. Okay, we can go Few. So if the plan is to Few for absolute 0, and then in 2 turns we can clear the stuff. So we just gotta live 2 turns, basically. We go for the Scapegoat here. That's gonna let us stay alive, and then also gonna let us drop a Reptilian Voski next turn. I believe we do that. We go Priority, of course, target the Fusilier in case of a Bottomless Trap Hole. Not a Bottomless Trap Hole, though. They actually forgot about their Skill Drain for a moment. Fortunately, we managed to fix that. We go set. I think I do Bottomless this, because I was afraid of Red Med Priority, maybe, and then I'd have to Bottomless, and then we get it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that was even the right play. They could have still dropped Red Med. They opt to Creature Swap instead. Of course, this would have been lethal if we didn't have Tragodia. Exactly. My boy, even with Skill Drain on the field, Tragodia is still winning me the game. All you non-Trag believers, you seriously gotta understand this. So they hit straight into Mirror Force too, which sucks, especially for them because they just drew deck Devastation Virus. And we're just attacking in. We're not getting Battle Trapped. So I think this deck probably doesn't play Battle Trap. It's like you're on Skill Drain and Viruses. Are you really playing D-Prison on top of that? That would just be too much, right? So we're hitting in. We go ahead, set everything. Now we have that Typhoon meme. We can take out the Skill Drain if we so choose, and the Naga will be live, and then we'll just be absolutely chilling. But it turns out they just die. They actually just die to Ab-Zero hitting them directly over and over again. They don't have an out to it. So, all right. We against all the odds, we actually take that one. It did not look like we were going to win that game. It looked like the Skill Drain was just going to mess us up, but we pull it out. So at this point, I hit into a basically known course because we have the offerings, I guess. We just hope no Storm, but then they also have Storm, which is bad news for us because they get Few this turn. I think the opponent almost certainly threw this game because, like, they could have just summoned double Red Med here and, like, won. I would have had to draw something crazy, and I don't think I did. So but they, like, opt to ram the dude, and then they don't even drop Trag, so I don't know what they were thinking there. I don't know what they were thinking, but they just, like, refused for the longest time to bring back double Red Med, and I don't get it. So we drop a Nanta, and we take care of that Tragodia. I guess that's fine. Like, they could have just outed the Alias, right? Or was the Trag too small? Maybe it was too small. I'm not sure. They have Judgment down, though, so this was going to be tough. We can hit right over. Luckily for us, no Skill Drain. Skill Drain would have been a disaster at that point, like, obviously. They hit over for big damage, and then we set Typhoon. They flip a Morphing Jar, which honestly doesn't even hurt me that much. I feel like this jar was pretty helpful. They draw Eradicator, Dust Shoot, Mind Crush, though. So we Typhoon. They could have Solemned my Typhoon. They absolutely could have Solemned my Typhoon. They thought about it for a while, and if they had Solemned the Typhoon, we would have gotten Eradicator. We would have gotten Dust Shoot, Eradicator, Mind Crushed. Actually, they could still Dust Shoot, Eradicator, Mind Crush me. So what are they? How did we win this? I'm so confused. All right, they Mind Crushed the Strat. Why didn't they just hold the Mind Crush for, like, for a point in the game, like, after they Dust Shoot? Why didn't they Dust Shoot, actually? Did they forget? How did we win this game? They have everything. They go for Torrential. Well, why didn't we just get Dust Shooted? I'm so confused. I'm so confused. Okay, we just attack for game. We actually just Voski, My Body's a Shield, and Torrential to attack for game because they didn't... Why didn't they Judgment? They didn't Judgment or Dust Shoot or Eradicator. Bro. This game should have been so lost. What happened? Opponents. You can't just... Bro, my guy, you gotta use your cards. Okay, whatever. That was weird. That was so weird. What a match. All right, next one. Next one, let's move on. Hopefully this one's a little more normal. This is crazy, actually. The zombie player is playing Starlight Road, which, yeah, I mean, we you know how I feel about that card. We end up Judgmenting here. I think it's a decent punish. I mean, it puts us kind of dangerously low, but they're not going to attack us this turn. And it does just, like, give us a plus and, like, skips their entire turn. I do decide to chill here. I don't want to do anything too risky because we are half life against the zombie deck. And you never know when they're going to, like, pull something on you. So I think at this point we finally decided that we've got enough momentum on our side to start poking with guys, and it works out. They're not on battle traps, which I guess makes sense. The zombie deck doesn't play a whole lot of battle traps, mainly just probably Mirror Force or something, like, I guess. We hit in, and then we banish the tomato, which is good. And I think we drop a Nanta, which is going to force out the Torrential Tribute. So that's kind of fine, though. We get another Gardna into a Gardna, and then I think we go ahead and set, because we haven't normal summoned yet. They go summon Krebons. At this point, we bring out the Stratos and start poking, which I think is probably a decent play. It does kind of play into this Brain Con, and I think if they had Caius plus Judgment there, we'd have been in trouble, I guess. I thought about it at the time. I'm like, oh crap, Caius Judgment actually killed us here. But they don't have that specific combination of stuff. And I didn't realize they were on road at this point. I just assumed that Judgment was set, I guess, is a possibility. So I think we go, actually, for the Black Rose to try and force that Judgment. But then it turns out to be a Stardust, or a Starlight Road, which is going to drop the Stardust and then hit over. We can get into Naga, which is okay. I guess that's nice. I think they do opt to set the Mizuki at this point. I don't know why they set their E-Teller. I think they might be out of targets. Shut up, Charlie. I'm making a video. Okay. Sorry, I'm just yelling at my cat. So what happened? They Mirror Force, and then we take out the Stardust with it. Or we Mirror Force, take out their Stardust. I got that backwards. We take out their Stardust with Mirror Force. It doesn't come back, obviously. It was summoned off Starlight Road. So now we go for Garden of Crash. Of course, if they have something, we can chain this Offerings now that the Starlight Road is taken care of. So either way, I think getting the road out of the way was good, given that we have that Offerings of the Snake Deity. We go crash the Gardna. We get in a freaking ruling argument about whether zeros crash. I think in Edison format, zeros do crash. After 2011, March 2011? Is it March 2011? After March 2011 or so, zeros cease to crash. So when you attack a zero into a zero, nothing happens at that point. But in Edison format, when you hit a zero into zero, they do crash, which is actually kind of a big deal for this deck. Especially now they're playing triple Naga. But because it means you can crash your Gardna and just plus like that for free. It's just, and like you can just crash Naga too next turn, and just get +1s like that. So very cool. Here we hit him, we get deprisoned. At this point, I think it's finally time to activate the Offerings to the Snake Deity. So we're gonna go ahead, roll a dice, hit 2 back row plus our deprisoned Voski. We take out Burial Itali, which neither of which is particularly useful, honestly, because like they don't even have a zombie yet, meaning the Mizuki's dead. And then I think we make Stardust main 2. Yeah, we make Stardust using the attack mode Naga, just because I feel like it's kind of a liability. I greed the Torrential here, like hardcore. I could have just Torrentialed, and then they'd have had a dead Book of Life in hand, and we'd have won. But I decided to greed it, and we go make another Stardust, hit over. So we're definitely in a worse position because I chose to do that, honestly. Maybe I should have just gone for it, but I feel like when you're in a winning spot like this, there's no reason to potentially risk... Well, yeah, maybe I should have just used the Torrential. Maybe I should have. Either way, we're going to get big value out of the Torrential here. The only way we could have gotten messed up here maybe is if they Brio randomly hit the Torrential and then like start womboing and go into the correct synchro and hit over the Stardust. So, but as it stands, we're just going to Torrential them, and they have nothing. They have nothing now. They ask me about like whether they could Prio Illblood, which obviously that doesn't work because you have to Gemini summon Illblood first. I believe you can Prio the Illblood if you just, like, on an open game state, Gemini summon the Illblood, because you've, like, normal summoned basically at that point. But here, when they just bring it back with Mizuki, I can just flip Torrential, and obviously there's, like, no way they can Prio the Illblood at that point. And at this point, we revive the Stardust with Call the Haunted Attack for game. Yeah, I remember game 2 being really short. We draw a bad hands, and I'm hand shuffling a lot. Okay. So here we get Dust Shooted, and then our Lore's dead, and then I don't know why I slammed Storm. It didn't make sense. Like, whether it was road or not, just didn't make sense to Storm there. I should just wait until we have an actual play. But then they rode, and I'm like, all right, whatever. Screw this game. I'm going next. So that's what we end up. That's what we end up doing. So maybe if I just not stormed, and we'd waited, maybe drawn a dark, we could fix that hand or something. But the way it happened was bad. This game we opened Foolish Debris Solemn, so I feel like we should be pretty good. I don't know why they're playing Starlight Road, actually. It is super weird in zombies, right? Like, that's not a deck that normally even plays Starlight Road. We end up having to Judgment the Brianak here, and I think they forget their Mizuki, or their Goblin Search, so I have to remind them. What do? I just Allure at this point. I'm like, whatever. I need to draw cards and not have this dead Allure sitting here. And then we go set 2. You know, I remember them doing some weird stuff this game, too. So the reason I didn't negate here is because I was playing around Book of Life. If we negate with Stardust when we get Book of Life, that would be really bad. So, I guess I should have done it because they didn't actually have a DD Crow or a Book of Life or anything. But, yeah, you know, we're just, like, thinking too big brain here. So I think we compulse this. I could have also bottomless that. I decided the compulse was better since it's just, like, a guaranteed use on an extract monster. We get torrential here, which is fine. We get more tokens. We get our Stratus replaces itself, so we don't really go neg there. Now we go make Stardust. The Stardust gets Solemn. They probably should have just Solemned the summon of the Debris Dragon. Then we would have had one less token. Honestly, yeah, this is rough because we just have these offerings, like this one too, and we're like 11 cards, no, we're 17 cards deep. We play a ton of reptiles. We haven't drawn any, so I don't know. Yeah, this turn was weird as shit. I don't know what they were thinking. Like, they could have just Mizuki'd back Goblin, stacked for Plague, Synchro, but instead they, like, do this weird play where they try to Black Rose to set up the return from the different dimension next turn. But obviously you can see what's going to happen. I say, like, man, the only way they would have done that shitty play is if they have return from the different dimensions. I'm slamming this Heavy Storm right now. They just chain the return, try and stay alive, and they draw into it. They know I have Alias at this point, I guess, but I guess they weren't necessarily dead if they Zombie Master hit over. We summon Alias. Yeah, man, it's really bad for them, though. Like, it's really bad for them, so I feel like they kind of threw this one. We got some throwy opponents today. What do you know? That's just how it goes. So this is another zombie deck, but it's on, like, Creature Swap and Gilman. How do people just, like... They're playing Instant Fusion zombies, and they're like, this deck needs Creature Swap and Gilman, too. Like, zombie players are obsessed with filling their decks with as many bricks as they possibly can, I swear. So we go Typhoon, and I decided to just make the Stardust. Obviously, making the Stardust would have worked out anyway, I guess. Maybe I didn't need a Typhoon there. What would the backer actually be that would mess me up? Like, Solemn? I guess, like, that's fine trade, though. Maybe should have just held the Typhoon. I don't know. I felt like we'd be in a good spot. I think we didn't know what they were playing, though, and we really wanted the Stardust play to go through, because maybe we thought it was a Raikou or a Hamster or something. So at this point, we take the Diva... And yeah, this is a solid Mirror Force. They question mark this Mirror Force. This is an insane Mirror Force. I don't know what they're smoking. Like, yeah, whatever. We just get to take care of that Pyramid Turtle wall that we couldn't have dealt with otherwise. They go for Book of Life, and then they normal summon again. I ask if they want to Prio, and they, like, don't. So I flip bottomless, and they leave. Yeah, I don't know. That was a short one. We had 2 real matches, and then we just kind of had this one tacked on at the end. So I hope you enjoyed the real matches, because I don't know. I don't know what this guy was on. The Creature Swap was so goddamn bad. We had tokens everywhere. The Gilman, of course, in the hand. You know, just everything. Ill Blood, too. I gotta see this zombie list, actually. It's like Zombie Brick Turbo is what they're playing. But, yeah, those were the matches. Overall, I think the deck is still pretty solid. I'm thinking about... I mentioned potentially putting back some Quick Draw package. Potentially putting back some Caius. I think I want Raikou gone, though. I really hated all the milling. It just felt so, like, random and, like, you were... Yeah, I don't know. I like having the other ways of accessing Dandelion rather than just relying on random milling it with Raikou. And we actually lost a substantial number of matches with this deck because of, like, just milling all of our ways of winning. So I think it was a serious problem. So I'm going to work with this build some more. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you thought in the comments section. I will see you tomorrow. Peace out. As always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Furthermore, if you enjoy my content, you should think about becoming a channel member. You get access to tons of bonus content, and it's a great way to help support the channel.